Okay, a lot of frantic activity in the pit lane, but we are now getting underway with our second of the three junior road tax heats. So the drivers that have gone out first, the remainder of the field will have to stay in the pit lane. So Matty Sormetre and Cameron Nelson went out first with Kai Clark and Ryan Gandor, Kai Veach and Max Sidursky, with Jim Bach, Rick Koparal, Noé Neumann, Len Druz, Vlad Tomenchuk, Norden Engelsman, Ryan Kivitsbosch, Philip Wisniewski, Ben Jamie Berger, Asmi Heiser, Lucas Sells, Bram van der Weken, Lika van Berkel, and Jod van Ekelen all went out first. So the remainder of the field, which is Jacob Ashcroft, Thomas Verheyen, Thijs van Wijk, Jack West, Boz Maximov, Martin Lischner, Ryan Bourguignon, Noah Janssen, Lars Lambers, Dave Stevens and Alexander Van Meeuwen. They will have to start from the pit lane exit. So once the start gets going, they can, and the field has passed them, and they've taken the start, the rest of the field. So Thibaut, no, there were drivers on slicks and wets, but our race director has said, if you want to change to wets now, do it, but you will have to start from the dummy grid, as in the repair area, because the rain is intensifying, and now we're at that point where we go to a completely saturated circuit. The floodlights are now starting to light up around the circuit on the Europalan, just off of turn 8, just off of turn 4. So the floodlights are pretty much on at the entirety of the circuit. Sunset predicted at 5:44. That's in just over 40 minutes' time. So we're back effectively under wet race conditions. And I completely agree, Lucas, with your comment that you just put in the chat saying wets are the best option, even though you start from the pits, because then it puts everyone on the equal situation. So 7 minutes plus an additional lap of this penultimate Ginny Rotax heat of the day. Next up, we'll have KZ2 and KZ2 Masters. So the field being led by Mathieu Sormetre and Cameron Nelson. So they have to start in their respective grid positions. So Mathieu Sormetre will start out front. Cameron Nelson actually has to be a cut on the road behind because of where Jacob Ashcroft was due to be. We've got 7 minutes on the timer plus an additional lap. The rain is intensifying here at the home of champions as the first bunch of the field go into the tram lines. Revs rise, lights are on. As we've already had a spin and that has caused chaos, and we've got a full start already. We had one pirouetting, pointing in the opposite direction. It caused a domino effect. There is now mud also on the circuit from the rejoin. So the drivers will have to get around to the tram lines on the grid, and that was the 285 that has just rejoined. Lika van Berkel starting down at the back end of the field. So you go from a dry track. Some of the mechanics had the foresight to put their drivers onto wet weather tyres because they obviously saw what happened in the senior race that just took place, where the weather was deteriorating rapidly, and the rainfall again is still intensifying. I have to give a shout out to Team MKG for braving the elements again, like they have been doing all the way through so far. So timer reset to 7 minutes plus an additional lap. And everyone in the repair area waiting to be released, as Mathieu Saumetre will lead them out of the final corner and will have the whole shot advantage. Into the tramlines, revs rise, lights are out this time. And one of the karts is slowing on the restart and is starting to break down as the first part of the field makes its way through into turn 2. Now the rest of the field gets released, led by Jacob Ashcroft in the 222 from the United Kingdom. So this is where these kind of moments can give an opportunity to someone who in the first heat might not have had the best run of luck. And that is very much proof in the pudding here. And for those that can see now on your screens watching, that the rain is coming down. And it is not. It's not a picnic for these drivers at all. So Mathieu Saumetre trying to apply the brakes. The back end trying to step out to the left-hand side on the approach into turn number 10. Drivers using the curbing. Of course, they've got to be very, very careful. Despite the fact they've got grooved wet weather tyres, the biggest problem that they've got to deal with is standing surface water. And curbs can pick that all up. Mathieu Saumetre leads after the opening lap and has just done a 1:14.1. So that just shows the big drop-off that we have had since the previous heats earlier on today. So Cameron Nelson, Kai Clark, Ryan Gandor rounding out the top 4. Kai Veach in 5th ahead of Vlad Tomenchuk. So a sea of purple courtesy of KR Sport. Rick Corporal is at the sharper end of the field in 6th place. I have to give a shout out to our man that normally is on the start-finish line, the flag marshal, Hans de Klein, who's just had a hip operation, and the operation went well. So get well soon, Hans. And I know you're watching, buddy. We're thinking of you over here at Karting Genk. So again, this is where the adaptability of the drivers in karting, this is where you have you have to really sort of do your best, and you're taking alternative racing lines. You're going to the outsider corners. And Thibaut saying it's a 6-minute survival for the people on 6. Well, Thibaut, everyone is on wet, so I can guarantee you that much. There was a lot of the field that had to go to the repair area, put the carts on the trolley jacks, and then feverish activity then ensued as Ryan Gandor battling away with Kai Veach. This is the battle for 4th place on the road, heading down the Europlan and into turn 7. Martin van der Stroys, good to hear from you, buddy. Masterclass, my friend, and plenty of rocket emojis in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much, Martin. Look forward to catching up with you very soon, of course, being more than likely tomorrow. Rick Corporal completely sideways whilst applying the power out of turn number 9 as we are halfway through this second heat. And again, Gandor going on the defensive through into turn 12. Just behind them, Vlad Tomenchuk goes a little bit deep into turn 12, nearly giving the opportunity to Rick Corporal to get through. And Ryan Gandor did some switching between mini and juniors last year. Kai Veach gets through on the 214 from Canada, out of turn 2. And, oh, Widget. Hi, Alex. Hello, Widget. How are you? I can't remember who you are anyway. I keep on forgetting who has specific YouTube names, so please remind me and refresh my memory. I'm not as young as I used to be. Right, okay. Rick Corporal closing in on Vlad Tomenchuk for position. And this is going to be a 4, probably more than likely a 4-car. Right, oh no, Rick Corporal's just spun it. Corporal's just spun it, and I think nearly collected Vlad Tomenchuk. Nikita Lubimov. Nikita, good to hear from you. And great to hear the news about you in the off-season. I know you're racing elsewhere at the moment. I think it's Italy, if I'm very much mistaken. But yeah, Rick Koparal having a bit of a moment, and the kart went round, and Vlad Tomenchuk nearly went around too. Lucas Sells is out of the race, as well as Lieke van Berkel from the Netherlands. So a couple of drivers not exactly having the best run of luck. Well, no, it's not Lieke van Berkel. Den Engelsman in the 2:49 has dropped to the tail end of the field. So Filip Wisniewski and Lieke van Berkel move up a couple of positions. Yeah, so Vlad Tomenchuk and Rick Koparal now at 10th and 11th respectively. For Mathieu Saumetre, 1.5 seconds. There is the 293 out of turn number 9. So Mathieu Saumetre from France, leading by 1.5 seconds ahead of the UK's Cameron Nelson. Kai Clark and Kai Veach make it 3 Brits in the top 4, with Canada's Ryan Gandor completing the top 5. Lendruis up from 19th to 6th. So, right, so you've been racing at Lonato. Well done, Nikki. So hopefully I'll see you at some point later on this season, whether it be the B&L or maybe over in Eastern Europe in Latvia or Lithuania. So we could have a few other drivers that might not be seeing out the race. We have got 38 seconds to go as Mathieu Saumetre goes bumping over the curbs out of turn 3. The lead now is nearly 2.4 seconds. Bran van der Weyken has made up 20 positions through all of what has happened. Asmi Heiser, 19th, runs 7th at the minute. Ben Jamie Berger started 24th, now currently at 13th place. Jacob Ashcroft, who was due to start on pole position, is currently sitting in 14th place. So this is where that moment when they were afforded the opportunity to change from slick to wet weather tyres, but then have to pay the price of starting from the repair area. Okay, timer has expired. One more lap to go after this, and Mathieu Saumetre, who started from the outside of the front row, effectively was the de facto pole sitter in the revised, well, the rejigged race start, because of all the drivers that were given the opportunity to switch from slick to wet weather tyres. So we've had 2 retirements. Lucas Sells on lap 1, Nuden Engelsman on lap 2. As Mathieu Saumetre is on the final lap of this race with a 3-second advantage over Cameron Nelson. So the 293 on the way down to Cafe Corner for the final time. Again, just modulating on the brake there, not letting the back end step out too much to the left-hand side out of turn number 10. But we're going to have Mathieu Saumetre, the 293 from France, out of the final corner, will win a topsy-turvy Heat 2 here at Karting Genk. Cameron Nelson from the UK will take second. Third, it's going to be Kai Clark in the 267. And we have a little bit of a wait for some of the other drivers. It's going to be Kai Veach that will cross the line. Another KR Sport Kart in the top 4. With Asmi Heiser, Ryan Gandor, Bran van der Weyken, Noah Neumann, Vlad Tomenchuk and Boris Maximov completing the top 10. Rick Koparal, Jacob Ashcroft, Noah Janssen, Ben Jamie Berger, and Lars Lambers takes 15th. Jort van Ekelen has tumbled. Then rounding out the top 20, Thijs van Wijk, Thijs Stevens, Martin Lischner, Ryan Bourguignon and Jack West completing the top 20. Alexander van Meeuwen 21st. Jort van Ekelen 22nd. Thomas Verheyen, Max Sadursky, Still waiting for the final few drivers to come across the line. So I'll call them as they do so. Next up, Jim Buck in the 2-2-1. Philip Wisniewski. So that might be the fact that we'll have Lendru as, well, Ryan Kiewitzbosch has crossed the line. So has Lieke van Berkel. And Lendruers will end up 29th. And that is how a race can be turned upside down and on its head, with Mathieu Saumetre winning in the 293.